Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to One Hub Racing here for round number 9 of the championship here in P2. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action as always, and joined alongside with me is Mr. Omi Combs. Omi, how are you doing, mate?
Hello, Michael. Hello, everyone. Doing absolutely brilliant. Had a 1 week break, of course, but we're now back. It's a sprint race, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of action coming our way around this incredible circuit.
Yeah, absolutely, and what a track to go racing at. Of course, the a track that in real life is, you know, it's overused quite a bit because it is the testing track. Of course, it is a circuit, the Barcelona Catalonia. It is 4.6 kilometers in length, 2.8 miles. Of course, the old final chicane removed now, so it's back to the original sweeping final sector through 13 and 14. Of course, 14 corners around this track, 6 to the left and 8 to the right, and of course it is a sprint race, as you did allude to earlier, so it'll be 8 laps in sprint and of course 23 laps in the main race, but they are just about going into one-shot qualifying. Of course, we are a little bit delayed in getting the stream started, apologies for that, but we'll jump straight into one-shot quali, and we'll see, actually not short quali, sorry, my bad. I'm getting things confused. I am absolutely scrambled today, absolutely all over the place. But yeah, I mean, considering it is a short qualifying, obviously we can go ahead and chat about a few things in terms of the championship and how everything's looking there. So let's go ahead and go on to the standings themselves, and there you see JM currently leading the way on 138 points, 39 points clear of Oshin, who is now in second place. And Oshin, a driver that obviously, I mean, last week didn't really, 2 weeks ago didn't really go well for him in round 8 at Belgium, but very consistent other than that.
Yep, very consistent indeed, as we allude to every single race. You have to be consistent in every single race or get the best result you can, even if it's a low point finish. You always got to try and maximize your results, and that's going to make you the champion. So Ushin's done that really well, really showing some great pace as well lately. So yeah, he's looking incredibly good.
Yeah, and of course in behind Oshin we got the Mad on 87 points and 80 points for Senna in 4th. Cam K Mum in P5 on 79 points, 66 points for Red Matt in 6th. Jonas on 63 points in 7th. Lawrence in 8th on 61 points and 59 points for Miami in 9th. And of course Specialist rounding out the top 10 on 57 points in P10, but looks like he wasn't racing last time out, which obviously would explain how he has managed to fall so far down the order. But outside the top 10, obviously you got Key in 11th on 38 points, 34 points going to Quinn in 12th. Cam Rules on 13 points in on 30 points in 13th place. 26 points for Westy in 14th, Ali B in 15th on 22 points, 13 points at Apex in 16th, Gazaman in 17th on 13 points as well. And yeah, in terms of the drivers that are still competing, obviously you got Fatality in 20th on 3 points, and of course the drivers yet to get a point on the board: ERT Thomas, Justin, and Nathan.
Yep, absolutely. As well, so that's definitely going to be their goals remaining in this season. But an interesting, a really interesting, I have to say, race coming up. Obviously the sprint and a main race as well. The sprint obviously setting the grid for the main race. The game doesn't have currently this year's real life Formula 1 format, so we're still using the 2022 and 2021 from real life. So if you do have a bad qualifying, you can change it around. If you can make some overtakes in the sprint, and then your starting position could be much more higher, and that could really help your race.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, speaking of the race itself, obviously, I mean, I'm going to go into the constructors momentarily, but I think it would be a great idea to kind of bring up the point system here in the sprint race. So let's quickly go ahead and do that, as I believe which was it, as I'm absolutely flying around all over the place trying to find it all. Yes, here we go. So here's 12 points for the victory in the sprint race, 11 points for second place, third guest 10 points, fourth guest 9 points, fifth guest 8th, 6th gets 7th, and then it continues down to 12th place that gets one singular point. No fastest lap point for the sprint race system, and of course in the feature race it is normal points applied: 20 for the win, 17 for second, 14 for third, 12 points for fourth, and 10 for fifth. And then of course 6th place gets 8 points, 7th gets 6 points, and then it continues down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 from 8th down to 12th place. But yeah, I mean, that is how the point systems all lie up here tonight. But of course, looking at the constructors standings as well, as I do have them up, Red Bull Racing currently lead the way on 178 points, and the gap is 18 points between AlphaTauri, who are trying to chase him down, in second place. Of course, Alfa Romeo currently in third on 144, 1 point ahead of the Williams Racing team in fourth place on 143. So I mean, we could be seeing a big fight in the constructors beginning to brew, as AMG Petronas Mercedes team are currently in 5th on 95 points, and of course 72 points for the Aston Martin team, 68 points for the Haas F1 team, McLaren F1 on 66 points, so another close battle between these three teams for P6, Alpine on 31 points, and of course 28 points for the Scuderia Ferraris at the back. But yeah, constructors definitely looking as close, and definitely going to be highly contested, I think, throughout the remainder of the season.
Yes, absolutely. Constructors going to be very feisty there as well, but the sprint, meaning more points are on offer, and also it might just be a sprint, but you've also got to maximize your points in those ones, because I mean, championships can be won also by 1 or 2 points. We have seen it previously, so you never know. Anything is possible, so you've always got to score the most that is on the table for you, and especially even on a bad circuit, at least try get those at least even 1 or 2 points, like a 10th, 9th in a Grand Prix could still be very crucial come the end of the season. They all build up, and they could gain you a few places, because obviously all of the drivers want to finish the highest they can, but obviously every single driver wants to win that championship, but only one driver can, unfortunately. So Will be interesting to see who can do it, but it'll most likely be the one who's able to minimize those mistakes week in, week out, and get the best results that are possible.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course we alluded to the championship. Of course, in terms of the rivalries this week, obviously the question was put to both JM and Oshin ahead of this race. Did you guys expect to be fighting at the top end of the championship at the start of the season? We did manage to get a response from the pair of them. Obviously, JM responding saying his ambition was to fight for the championship, even though Qatar was a disaster. The speed and the promise was there, so he guess his expectations were fully justified. I guess the same applies to Oshin as well. And of course, Oshin responding saying, I always knew I had good pace, but I didn't think I would be able to get the results, which I thankfully have been able to. I just want to get P2 now in the championship, and anything else is a bonus. So both drivers, alluding to the championship. Of course, JM confident that other than Qatar, he's at the pace this season, and Oshin seems very confident in getting himself a P2.
Yes, absolutely. Great to see both of these two drivers both wanting to get the brilliant top positions as well, and it's really great for all of them as well. And obviously the Mad started off the season by winning in Qatar. Even though you might have had a bad first round and second round, there's always possibilities and chances to turn it around. And really this season there's been so many drivers, that's the thing, there's been so many drivers who have been really quick and fighting for those positions, but they just haven't been able to be consistent enough, which is why JM and Oshin are really described as currently the main contenders as well. So definitely interesting, but once again, still, if you are like third, fourth, fifth, maybe there's still a chance if it goes wrong for Oshin and JM, and then maybe if they have the best few races they've had all season, then something could definitely be possible, but it's definitely going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, in the pre-race press conference and drivers press conference, we got a word from Miami. Of course, victory last time out in Belgium for Miami, and of course the question was put to him, great win for you in Belgium. Now it's given you a chance of potentially challenging for a place in the top 5 overall. Will you be going all out to get there, or seeing how the races pan out? Miami responding saying, yeah, it was a great win and definitely unexpected. I'm definitely aiming for a top 5 finish this season, and I will definitely be going all out to try and achieve that. I'm hoping to have a decent race in Spain, but let's wait and see.
Yep. So we'll see how he is able to do. Obviously, Miami though does have the engine penalty, so he's going to be fighting all the way through from the back. So we'll be exciting to see how he gets on with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as you mentioned about the engine penalties, I think it'd be a good idea to kind of quickly run through the engine penalties for tonight, as I'm going to quickly get them up. So, of course, tonight the engine penalties are being served by Miami, Mata, Key and Gaza. So 4 drivers going to be serving their engine penalties here in Spain. And without further ado, shall we jump on over to the action on tracks? We've got just about 8.5 minutes to go here in qualifying, and as it currently stands, we got JM currently on top in provisional pole position.
Yep, JM currently doing very, very well up there as usual there by JM. So great stuff by him. Almost 1.5 tenths clear off Senna. Obviously had a good race at Imola. That will definitely bring to mind for one of his great performances. Oshin's up there as well. So the battle for pole, I think, is going to close up a tiny bit, and it's going to be very interesting. Qualifying this season, I have to say, have also been very, very extraordinary and very, very close. So let's hope we see a bit more of that as well. And that's definitely what drivers like Senna would want, and Oshin to be able to challenge JM in this qualifying session. 1 minute 11.367 is the lap to beat, but we are expecting the track to be improving as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it wouldn't be right to go into the race now without having a little look at the pre-race interviews. I mean, I have a pre-race interview right now from ERT Senna, currently P2 in qualifying. What's called? So arrive at round number 9 or 12. How are we feeling going into it? Senna responding saying not happy. There's a ton of tracks I like more than this one. I just can't find good pace, so it'll be about surviving this race. And of course, we asked him, is this a track you think you'll do well at? And he said it will be pain, absolute pain. So he's dropped the S out of Spain, and it's going to be absolute pain. And he's saying he thinks it in terms of hoping for mixed conditions as well. He thinks his wet pace is better than compared to most, which will help him a lot on tracks. The way it tends to, he's a bit off the pace, but he is kind of hoping for mixed conditions. Obviously, with 4 races left, we asked how his season targets are looking overall. He said it's going to be very difficult. The last 4 races, apart from Singapore, are poor tracks for him, but he'll be trying his best to minimize the damage. And of course, we asked him what we think is his best position in his respective tier to win the title, and he said, you know, JM has the best chance to win it, no doubt. Great guy, great driver. So good sportsmanship there from Senna.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really, really great to see when other drivers give credit to the drivers who have been really at the top of their game all season long. Senna has just gone 10 thousandths behind JM, and that's the closeness I was talking to you about a few moments ago as well. So interesting battle currently for pole position, but yeah, that's the crucial thing. The word he is minimizing the damage even at the poor circuits, and they're gonna get you a good position at the end of this championship. Qualifying looking incredibly close, 10 thousandths of what they said.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as we get everything up now, obviously we're on board with Lawrence in the middle sector, and he's at 1.2 seconds off, so not on a competitive run. Obviously, Senna, as you just mentioned, recently just crossed the line. Thomas on the lap right now, marching up in sector 1, but we're going to see if he's up in sector 2 here as he comes to the sector 2 split now, and marginally up again, but he hasn't got much ERS to play with.
Yeah, marginally up. It's all about how he takes this part of the circuit now, and then obviously no more chicane. He's just absolutely flat to the floor like he used to, but he's coming in, so he knows that he wasn't able to find the improvement that he needs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you know, Thomas, a very great driver, very well experienced as well. A driver that I've had experience battling out there on a track a few seasons ago in one hub at Singapore, where me and Thomas were dueling for the race, winning that race. But yeah, it's good to see him back on the grid. Obviously down in P9 at the moment, a little bit lower than I expect to see Thomas, but hopefully you'll start to come through with a good qualifying result by the end of the session. Just over 4 minutes to go in the session now. JM still currently leads, as you mentioned, by 1/100th of a second ahead of ERT Senna, who is joined alongside him in the front row. And of course, we've got Oshin currently in P3, with Jonas in P4. So a good qualifying result so far for the Williams pairing.
Yep, good so far by the Williams. Second and fourth, really, really good for them. Mercedes also up there in 5th and 7th. But yeah, really decent for Williams. Second and fourth puts them in a good position, also with some teamwork. Brazil was the race where really we didn't see too much teamwork, and instead we saw a lot of fireworks for all these teams. So Williams, we're hoping that they have none of that here, but it was Red Bull on that race at Brazil that did a lot of teamwork, and Cam came helping Oshin out there. Incredible to see in a race where, as I said, there wasn't a lot of teamwork taking place. So the two Williams will be hoping that they're able to do some teamwork, and it'll definitely give them a bit of an advantage if they're together. Same for the two Mercedes.
Yep, coming for the final corner with Cam Rules. He comes to the line now, and it's going to be P10 for the Haas F1 driver, and he goes just ahead of Cam K, and that oh no, sorry, I misread that. I saw the 5 report. It was a 2. I was wondering, like Cam K had 747, and then Cam Rules had 748. I was wondering how Cam Rules was ahead. I misread it. I thought that said 12 instead of 15. That is my bad. But yeah, Cam Rules up into P10. Of course, we've got drivers coming out of the pits now, including Cam K, including Senna, and including Thomas. So It's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. JM also out there on track as well. Who should we go on board with for a final run here? Because I believe that Senna is going to be the first man to really go for it on his final run. So we'll stay on board with him.
I absolutely agree with you. I was going to say Senna as well, because it allows us to see if he's going even faster first of all, and then also he's the first one to complete his lap, so then we can turn our attention to other drivers who will also be improving, so we can show you this in the best possible way as well. And Senna definitely currently on the evidence we're seeing the closest one, and definitely with a huge chance to beat JM, but I'm sure with how the season's gone, as I mentioned earlier, we'll see some outsiders coming in, but it allows us to focus on them as well. But here we go, Senna is about to begin the lap.
Yep, so coming through the penultimate corner now is all about the run for the final corner for Senna, as he gets himself underway to begin his final lap here in qualifying. DRS wide open as you run down in towards turn number 1. Approaching 325 kilometers an hour, breaking down, and through turn 1 we go, taking curve through turn 2 to try and really open yourself up for turn 3. Keeping his foot flat to the floor, maximum commitment through there, and of course now into turn number 4, first sector split, and he is half a tenth up through turn 4 now, and it's all about keeping the car stable through turn 4, and now into turn number 5, keeping it nice and tight and getting good traction up the corner is key here. Through the little left-hand kink of turn 6 now as we come into turn 7 and 8, very difficult corner, can easily lose the car there as we climb up the hill now. Through turn 9, maximum commitment once again from Senna, DRS wide open for the second time as we run down in towards turn number 10 of the second sector split, and he's over a 10th up now as we come into the final sector. Through 10 and now into 11 and 12, keeps the all valid there. Now through turns 13, and this is where it's going to come the other way now. Final corner, how much commitment there from Senna? Brilliant commitment there as comes to the line. Is this going to be a new pole time? Yes it is, with a 1 minute 11.2 as JM goes wide for the final corner, and I think that is JM out of it in terms of the lap, as we've got more drivers coming to the line now. We have a Mercedes of Quinn now coming to the line. Quinn for the final corner. Let's see what the Mercedes driver can do as he comes to the line, and he's up into P6. We've got a McLaren of Knighton marginally up in the middle sector by 2 thousandths of a second. Can he find any time here in the final sector? Time will tell. For the final corner will come Knighton, and he'll go P5. Brilliant lap from him as Jonas now in behind. Jonas to the line, and he goes to P4. Oshin on a lap, he's a 10th up in the middle sector. Oh, sorry, he's nearly 2 times up in the middle sector. But Cam K to the line now. Cam K across the line up into P5, 1 minute 12 flat. Oshin, and I believe Thomas has already done his full lap, so I think Thomas won't be improving on his time. So we'll stay on board with Oshin. Oshin for the final corner, didn't look very committed for the final corner, but to the line he'll come. He does improve by 2 tenths, and he just misses out on getting onto the front row by around about a tenth of a second.
Yeah, Senna absolutely taking it away from that field, on that lap, and JM not able to respond with that one. So really an interesting ending to qualifying, but it's going to be Senna versus JM. Remember, this is the grid for a sprint race, and then the grid gets finalised then when the 8 laps begin.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course we'll run you through the order of this now in just a moment as we go through, and there we go. It is ERT Senna for the Williams team out there on pole position by almost a tenth and a half ahead of JM, the championship leader, who joins him on the front row. Oshin in P2 in the standings, currently in 3rd, and he was joined by Jonas also on the 2nd row. Good qualifying there for the pair of the Williams drivers. Cam K in 5th with Speed Knighton in 6th. Lawrence in 7th with Quinn in 8th. 9th goes to Justin. Thomas rounds out the top 10, and of course Cam rules the last man to set a lap time. And of course the guys who didn't set a lap time were of course Specialist, Miami, Lamata and Ali B. So a couple of times not recorded there, but 11 drivers did manage to get laps on the board. Of course it's going to be interesting to see how Miami and Lamata do coming from the back of the field now.
yes, definitely going to be interesting to see how they do. But the thing is, at least it's a sprint race for them. So also a good opportunity to take these engine penalties where they have the sprint to recover and then set themselves up for with a good starting position for the main race.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that is the key thing as well. Just making sure that you have the ability to get yourself back into the race. Because, of course, when you start from the back, it's very difficult to make your way through the order. So having that sprint race just gives you an opportunity to get yourself into a much better position to come into the feature race on.
Absolutely. So no formation lap, so we're going to be straight into it. So whenever we look to the lights, that is when the action will get underway.
Yeah, of course. But before we do that, massive shout out to our sponsors at Next Level Racing, providing some fantastic prizes there for the drivers for this season. Of course, Aztec as well, and of course the Pure Sim gear and the Mystery Sim boxers. Actually, we are jumping straight in, so we are gonna quickly go to the 5 red lights and get ourselves underway. Yes, unfortunately I wasn't able to finish the sponsorship shout out there, but brilliant start early on from Kamke, getting himself ahead of Jonas. Jonas having an absolutely horrible start, down into P6 already.
Absolutely. We make our way through the first corner. JM wasn't able to move up to the race lead. Urshin trying to go right around the outside. Red Bull 3 and 4 right now, but Senna, great stuff by him. He holds the lead at the front of the field.
Yep, fantastic start from Senna, holding on to P1 as Oshin and JM scrap for P2. And of course we got the Kamke ahead of both Mercedes drivers. It looks like Knighton's gone down to the back of the field. Maybe a bit of contact, maybe a spin there through turn number 4, but down to the back goes Knighton. As Lamata, Miami and Ali B all making moves to get themselves up the order. And P9 for Miami, P10 for Lamata and P11 for Ali B.
Yes, absolutely. Speed Knighton must have had a moment. He's dropped 7.4 seconds and it's continuing to drop as well. So it looks like he's had some issues down there on that opening lap there as well. It looks like he's also got a damaged front wing. So definitely not what he wanted. But Senna is breaking the slipstream because JM is in the wheel tracks.
Yep, JM trying to close up on Senna as Oshin's trying to close up on JM. Had a little peek down the inside, did JM on Senna, but wasn't able to make that move. And look at Oshin now, trying to find an alternative line to try and get this move done as Knighton, I believe, bit of contact maybe coming into the pit lane, saw a yellow flag down there. As Oshin now getting all over the back, and yep, Knighton has retired from the race. Interestingly though, I have noticed that Jonas is on a set in the medium compound tyres.
Yep, absolutely, as Ali B and Thomas get very close together. Cam Rules as well with a very late selling the dummy there and making a very late lunge. So everything really happening in this race right now, all of them running really close together as they all look for some moves. Lawrence putting some pressure as well on Cam K-Bum, trying different racing lines and trying to see where the grip is to overtake the driver in front of him.
Yeah, Lawrence really trying to find an alternative line to get through on Cam K. I think once DRS comes into play though, I think Lawrence will be taking that P4 away from the Red Bull driver. But now, look at this now, JM closing up to Senna, but I don't think he's close enough. In fact, he might be close enough. He has a look down the inside. They're going to go wheel to wheel into turn number 1. As Senna holds it around the outside, and JM now under big pressure from Oshin in behind.
Yeah, some great battling. Senna holds it, JM, then Ushi, E3, all pulling away as well at this stage of the race, and all putting some pressure. Now we're going to have some DRS, and now it's going to get even more tastier than it already has been in this race. So a lot of action still yet to come in this sprint race, all of them trying to improve some positions as Miami moves up to 8.
Yeah, Miami, Lamata all trying to make their way up the order, of course starting from the back of the grid after serving their engine penalties and of course making their way up the order. What we're going to see right now is an absolute almighty battle for the race leaders. Look at this now, JM trying around the outside of Senna, and look at the little cutback underneath here from Oshin. Oh, he just could not get that done, but Senna, a little bit of gamesmanship perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
just allowing JM to take the race lead so he gets DRS on this next lap.
This is going to be a very interesting sprint all the way to the end. No pit stops to worry about. And Senna with DRS trying to go back on the attack as we head to turn number 1.
And here comes Oshin as well. Oshin going to overtake the championship leader into turn number 1. The Red Bull through up into P2. And that is all down to JM's being too greedy on ERS, I think. Because he wasted a huge amount on the opening laps. And he has absolutely nothing now to kind of combat these guys.
Yes, absolutely. I was surprised actually with how much he did use as Jonas is being overtaken as well there by Justin is getting past, and Miami was also involved in that scrap as well. But this is an absolute brawl out there right now in the sprint race as the Mada tries to fight his race with Jonas in the medium, currently going backwards as you mentioned earlier on, starting on the medium, the only driver to do so in this race. But everything happening at the front of the field with the
Here comes the Mada.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. The Maddox going for it, and he's getting past Jonas.
Oh, absolutely outbreaking him there. Outbreaking the Mata, and my God, he almost went straight in the back of Justin there in P8. That would have been absolutely horrendous for the pair of them. But right now, the battle at the front is what we're going to keep our eyes on. JM, with that lack of ERS, needs to save a bit of battery, in my opinion. But he is trying to get onto the back of these guys as Oshin now into the race lead, and Senna. Look at the ERS that Senna has. Senna on 40% absolutely swamps both Oshin and JM on ERS usage.
Absolutely, and he's actually trying to fight back towards turn 4. This is absolutely extraordinary stuff. Senna being able to keep the ERS, and somehow Oshin is going to hold on, but he's wide, he's deep into the corner, and he'll open the door. They're going to continue to scrap all the way through. They're battling to parts of the circuit where we wouldn't usually expect it. JM also trying to fight his way through as well, but he won't have the traction, and Senna is going to hold on to that second position. But Senna doing very well with ERS management. It means that when we get to the business end of this race, which is coming very, very shortly, we're on that 5 out of 8, it's coming very, very shortly, he's going to be able to fly past all of them with the speed he's going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Senna with 45% ERS to his name. He's got 30% more than Oshin. Same with JM as well. He's got 30% more than both of the guys around him. Senna could essentially, I mean, he has had a bit of a scruffy final sector, so it might not be all good for him. As Jonas here on those mediums, losing out massively as he loses the car and goes down to P14. But look at Senna, absolute flying through as JM tried to follow him through, but JM unable to get the move done on Oshin. And this is crucial for the championship battle as well between these two drivers, getting the one-upsmanship here in the sprint race to get themselves better position for the feature race.
Absolutely, Justin involved in a massive scrap with Miami, and Quinn is now trying to keep Justin behind all the way around. Will not work, and he'll actually open the door for the Matter to go to the outside. Might switch it to the inside. No, he's actually going to go and stay in the wheel tracks, but look how close it still is for the race lead. And it's all now about tactics. Where do you place your car for these last few laps as they all try and start their races, the feature race from the highest position? But Oshin using the DRS, and this is going to be a mighty three-car.
Here comes Justin.
Yep, here he comes.
Oh, he tried to squeeze his way around the outside there, but there wasn't much room. But a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a wobble here from Justin, almost going into Quinn. That could have been an absolute heartbreak for the Ferrari driver. The Mata just about avoids it, and I think Cam Rules losing it on traction in behind as well. Back up to the front though. Here comes Senna for the race lead, and oh my God, he's onto the grass.
Oh, onto the grass he goes to try take that race lead, and he does take the race lead, but that was much more tighter than they would have wanted as Quinn is overtaken by 2 cars down into turn 1.
Yep, Quinn overtaken by both Justin and the Mata. The Mata now up into P7. These drivers, Miami, Justin and Mata, trying to recover after starting from the back of the field. Of course, P6, P7, P8, decent places to start the feature race from, so they'll be happy with the recovery so far. But I think Miami, potentially, if these guys battle in front of him ahead, and look at the battling that has gone on between Senna, Oshin and JM, it's brought Lawrence and Cam King into the mix.
Yeah, 3 now turning into a 5. Car scrap on the penultimate lap, which will go down to the final lap, but Oshin wants to lead it. Senna's lagging around a tiny bit.
No, I think this is what Senna wants to do, as he's allowing Oshin to take that position in the final sector, and then we'll take it back with DRS. But JM there trying to keep his nose in at the penultimate corner, not going to work out for him. and now could be under pressure from Lawrence. If Lawrence gets a good run here, he has the ERS advantage over him. Well, look at Lawrence coming. Lawrence going for JM here, and he could get Oshin as well. Oh my God, he's hit the back. He's hit the back, as look at that. JM's going to try and keep it down the inside. Lawrence goes deep and off track, as look at that now. The championship protagonists battling out side by side, wheel to wheel through turns 1, 2 and 3. As we head now into turn 4, both of them flashing red light. And it looks like Senna, I mean, fantastic job from him. He's managed to get himself away. Oshin now, will he have an opportunity to come back with the DRS zone? We're on the final lap of the sprint race here. It is Senna leading the way from JM in second place. Oshin currently in P3. The Mata's on the back of Lawrence, and he should be able to get through with the wind damage that Lawrence now has. And now is all about turn 10. Can the Red Bull get close enough? What a run out of turn 9. And look at this, Oshin around the outside is the championship protagonist dueling battle here, as JM able to hold on. We wasn't able to get a good camera angle of that there, but JM holds on to P2, and I think that is going to be the end of that, as the Mata all over the back of oh, look at this now, just into the mix. Oh, contact between the Mata and Lawrence here through the penultimate corner, and that allows Justin to get himself up into P5. But with that penalty, he drops down the order. Lawrence holds on to P5, the Mata in P6, Quinn in P7, Justin in P8. Miami's, what happened to Miami? He went all the way down to P9. As Specialist rounds out the top 10, Thomas, Jonas, Ali B outside of the top 10, but of course the top 12 do get points, so it's just Ali B, the last of the finishers, to not get a point in the sprint race. But my God, what a end to that race that we just seen.
What a sprint race as well. All the way from the start to the end. And really an exciting race, as I said, from the start to the end, really. Action all the way through, and Senna came out on top.
Yeah, so we'll run you through the order one more time. There's, of course, Senna, who took victory ahead of JM in P2, extending the championship lead as Oshin comes through in P3. Cam K-Mum in P4 with Lawrence in P5, holding on with that damage. The Mata, good recovery up into P6. Good starting place for the feature race with Quinn in P7. Justin in P8, that penalty really costing him at the end. Miami in P9, and Specialist rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10, we have Thomas in 11th, Jonas in 12th, Ali B in 13th, and of course our two DNFers in the sprint race were, of course, Cam Rules, two Cams, it confuses me sometimes, and Speed Knighton rounds out the final spot on the grid. But what a sprint race that was, and it does both things up well for the feature race. But obviously what I will do now, because I didn't have time to do it before the start of the sprint race, is of course go through our sponsors, and of course to thank them. As mentioned, obviously Next Level Racing providing some fantastic prices for the drivers here, as of course as Aztec, as well as Pure Sim Gear, and of course the mystery shirt box. And of course to our partners at Vespertwin, and of course to ERT, as well as Sim Grid as well. If you saw the stand-ins earlier, they are of course provided through Sim Grid. And of course we do have the Going Guest Tough Award, of course brought to you by the Elite Racing Team, ERT, and of course some fantastic prizes on offer throughout the course of this season. But my God, Omi, what a fantastic result that we were just witness to in that sprint race. Absolute, it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a good old duel, a freeway scrap, a good old bit of psychological and mental mind games being played between Senna, JM and Oshin through the course of that race.
Yep, absolutely, and it's all going to happen again, as you said, set up brilliantly, because they're all going to be in the same positions, and they're basically just going to continue on from the sprint. But two pit stops also managed this time for both of them. No pit stops in the first one. It was all about ERS management, but in the feature, two mandatory pit stops to happen, more action, and the order could definitely change around. But we're definitely going to see this battle between all three, possibly 4 or 5, and if they start battling right from the opening meters, then possibly the whole grid. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course we have to bring up as well the Mata coming through the order as well. We don't know what happened with Miami and how he managed to fall back. But Miami being another one that adds the pace apparently to get through the grid. And of course with more laps to do it, could Miami get into the fight? And of course we saw Justin as well with that 3-second time penalty. Really hurt him at the end, but he was there as well with the Mata and with Miami. Of course, I'm very interested to see what happened with Miami, but it does look like it's going to be all sunshine in here in Spain for the feature race, which is fantastic. And it's going to be an interesting one as we do go to those 5 red lights. So we'll quickly jump on over as we get ourselves underway now for the feature race. 23 laps for these drivers, and Senna once again getting a good start off the line, but this time I think JM's a little bit closer and could really challenge him into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely good leads on the brakes, but Senna keeps his foot in, uses the momentum from the outside line and holds the race lead. Oshie, could he get a tiny bit in touch? It doesn't look like he'll be close enough. He'll use a tiny bit of ERS, but great stuff from Senna. Was under pressure, but was able to keep the lead as Cam came on, pressured Lawrence as they make their way through.
Yeah, interesting split in terms of the tyre strategy as Kamke and the Mata and Miami, along with Thomas and Specialist, opting for a set in the mediums as Miami now down the inside, gets the move done on Justin up into P8. And look at that as Knighton tried to send it on Justin there into turn 7, and didn't work out well for him. He loses the spot to Ali B because of it. But yeah, I mean, everyone getting through basically completely fine as it currently stands.
Yeah, absolutely what we wanted to see as well. There after we also saw Speed 9 and have some issues in the sprint race. But yeah, Oshie definitely also looking very quick on that opening lap as well. But they all are, and they're all going to wait for the DRS. The Madden now looking for a move down to turn number 1. He's going to try and get past Cam Kimam. It's going to have to be the outside line. He'll have to be later on the brakes and squeeze ahead, and he absolutely does that as he moves up to 5th place. And Justin also makes the move on Miami, who is dropping down. It looks like he's at a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Miami going all the way down to the back of the field. Heartbreak for him as the Mata on those mediums trying to do his best to keep in touch with the top 4. And it'll be a very good stint from the Mata if he can keep in touch with the top 4 here. Because he is on the harder compound tyres, but definitely it's going to be interesting. But it looks like he has just dipped outside that 1 second window, and it's going to be real difficult now for him to get back within 1 second.
Yep, unless they absolutely start scrapping away and lose a lot of time, it is going to be hard. But you just have to try to stay as close as possible, and then then wait for those mediums to get back in better condition as Thomas makes the move on Speed 19. But now it's going to start getting interesting between our top drivers once again. JM once again using a lot of ELS. He wants the race lead. He's already alongside, and he's surely going to be inching ahead through turn number 1. He's able to get back to the racing line now as the leader.
Yeah, as a little bit of a lag spike there for me as JM was a lot closer to Senna into the break in the turn 1, then just kind of jumped ahead. So potentially a few lag issues possibly going on in the lobby as I'm seeing it from the broadcast cam. But yeah, I mean, what we're seeing at the moment is JM using absolutely everything to get into the race lead, but he has nothing to defend with. So it's like it's a catch-22.
Yes, absolutely. He did the exact same thing in the sprint. And if you take a look, even Oshie 38%, Senna 70%. He's using a lot of ERS to get into that race lead, but then, as you said, he just has nothing to defend it with. Lawrence with 75 as well. So he's just going to be under a lot of pressure. All of the other drivers saving the ERS. So he's gone for the same approach. But I don't know if it's going to work out, because he will be a sitting duck in the crucial moments.
Yeah, as Justin gets the move done on Quinn for P7 as he gets up the order, as Knighton is around at the back as well. So Knighton falling all the way down to the last place. Miami trying to get himself back up the order as well. He's on the back of Cam Rules, and he has a nice gap ahead of him to kind of push into us. You got Quinn and Justin side by side through turns 1. A little bit of contact there between the pair of them, and Justin moves it out, but more contact there with Ali B and Justin.
Yeah, Ali B trying to get involved as well, and that causes a tiny bit of contact, and it's very close as Justin also rejoins, trying now to get the up and under, as we now see it still very close out in front. But Senna not desperately looking for a move, because obviously there's no point wasting all of your ERS. If it's a slam dunk with the DRS, then maybe go for it, or if you're close. But other than that, you don't need to waste all of your ERS at this stage. Senna and Lawrence doing that very nicely indeed right now. But if you are in the mid pack, you might want to make those crucial overtakes that can get you closer to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, obviously with Ali and Justin scrapping out the way that they are at the moment, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a good spectacle. Obviously, of course, Quinn in the mix as well. But these guys are just going to fall further away from the top 6. I mean, we're seeing the Mata pull away from Cam K now, but the Mata in a bit of a no man's land. The top 4 still within a very tight train.
Yes, absolutely. The Mada and Cam Kim on those mediums, so obviously not able to do the exact same, but with different strategies, they'll be looking to fight back in the second stint as well of this race. But currently, Lawrence keeping them honest and obviously tried to make the move in the sprint race right at the end, but there just wasn't enough room for all of them to make their way through on that occasion. But Lawrence now definitely in the mix, so that's exactly what he wants. So really great stuff for Lawrence. Is staying inside the 1 second can really open the door for some undercuts or some overcuts, and really just keeps you in the game and with a chance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the matter needs these soft tires to really drop off now. As you mentioned, obviously, Lawrence, Oshin, Senna, and JM, they've been doing a fantastic job on that. They just DRSing each other and getting themselves away. Yeah, JM just has absolutely nothing to really defend with. Oshin's actually using a lot, but he's not really getting close enough. And he could be under pressure from Lawrence pretty soon as Senna goes through up into the race lead. And Senna has so much ERS. Same with Lawrence as well. Oshin and JM don't appear to have the pace around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. They're having to use a lot of ERS to actually stick around in this scrap as well. But JM with better traction, trying to fight back once again, just like we saw in the sprint race earlier on, a battle through this part of the circuit. JM having to really use the speed, having to use a bit of ERS. They're almost banging wheels, but Senna is just about staying ahead. And Senna there only, as I said, used ERS when he needed to. Other than that, he's not really using it. Oshin also feeling like he has a chance as well to get past JM. They're all really getting aggressive as Oshin and JM really, as you said, look like they're struggling for a bit of pace. JM's a tiny bit wide.
Yeah, JM getting a bit wide. Oshin now all over the back of the Alpha Tauri. And of course, this is big for the championship as well. If JM, and actually that's actually cost JM there, because JM tried to follow Senna in, and that's allowed Oshin to go straight through and up into the race lead as JM trying to use every bit of ERS he has to come back at Oshin here. Oshin not really using everything, so I mean, was that a very smart call for JM? I would have followed Senna through into the pits then if I was JM. I wouldn't have bailed out like that.
Yep, absolutely costing themselves, and you can see how much, and you can really see how much they are struggling because they're trying absolutely everything. Usually in a race, JM would just then sit behind, but no, it's open that ERS and try to do everything you can to retake that position, and that tells you really how they are struggling. And now it's left JM and Oshin out there. The Mad also shaping back now as the gap is 1 second. If you can gain a few more thousands, which he has, you'll also be getting DRS, but these two will surely be coming into the pits very shortly as now the soft start fading away, and they don't want to lose any touch as well to Senna, so they're probably going to be diving it in.
Yeah, and into the pits, and Oshin's in the wall, and he's out of this race. Oshin crashing into the pit lane entry wall, and that has triggered a safety car in this race. Absolute heartbreak for the championship protagonist. Just too hot coming into the pits and losing his wheel. Absolute horrendous.
And that's how power championship battle can really go wrong for him there. One little mistake that if he does finish a few points shy at the end of the season that he'll definitely look at, and that's a big chance gone for him. A very easy mistake to do sometimes if you're just too greedy, but it's a mistake that shouldn't have really happened, and he'll definitely be fuming with himself, but it's a mistake that could have cost him that championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the championship is well and truly in the hands of JM now, because obviously coming into tonight, he already had a 39-point lead. Obviously, the Mada is still in this race. He's currently P3 in the championship on 87 points, so he's a further 12 points behind Oshin. So it's 39, 41, 51 points between the Mada and JM, and 58 points between Senna and JM. So JM potentially could possibly extend the gap enough that he wins the championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just going to do the math on it real quick, because this could be the race where the championship is actually won.
Well, that would be honestly absolutely incredible. I'll let you get on with that.
I mean, just to quickly jump back in. Obviously, after tonight's race, there's 3 more races to go. 60 points apiece for the race win. There is another sprint race, obviously, at the final race of the season, which is, of course, at the Circuit of the Americas at Coda. So that would be another 12 points. So in total, there's 72 points available after this race.
Yeah, absolutely.
JM potentially has a chance.
Yeah, absolutely does. We weren't expecting it this early, but here we are, and could have sealed the deal very, very early on. We'll definitely look into it. But now, JM on those mediums, the Mada on those soft compound of tyres as well. So definitely the race getting a tiny bit interesting, but Senna losing out there due to that safety car. They'll head their way through under this safety car right now, and yeah, definitely could have opened the door, and Oshin was really doing really, really well. Incredibly well he was doing. So the safety car is going to be coming in this lap, but moments like that can really cost you, and it definitely has cost him. We're about to go racing once again around Barcelona.
Yeah, and of course we saw the Mada. He was on the mediums at the start of this race, so he can just go soft now to the end as JM backs up the pack, and he's really backing up the pack.
Yeah, definitely backing up the pack here. So here we go. Will be interesting. When is JM gonna go? But absolutely backing up the pack, but he's now gone.
Yep, and JM gets a very good restart here as the Mada on those soft tyres needs to kind of get onto the back of him and really get himself up the order. The interesting thing is Senna going for a set of the hard tyres. Maybe he knows something that we don't. Maybe the 2 sets of softs isn't the way to go in the future race here, and maybe the hards do need to be used, but the Mada are going to close up to the back of JM as Senna is all over the back of Miami. Now this is something that you wouldn't expect, the hards versus the softs, but Senna just has that pace here today.
Yeah, that's the pace that Senna does have, and we wouldn't really be expecting it. Soft versus hard on a restart. The soft would be very, very quickly, but it's definitely taking some time. The Mada's round. The Mada has had a moment, and right from the top 2 places is going to spin and lose the car all the way to the bottom to join his teammate. Not what Alfa Romeo wants at all.
Absolutely not. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's visually got any damage. Of course, the AI car of Cam Rules falling down the order now as well. As everyone will be climbing up the order. Thomas getting a little bit out of shape there through the final sector. That's going to open the door for Miami perhaps to maybe get himself up into the final podium position here as he'll use a bit of battery and he should be able to get through here as he's tucked into the slipstream, trying to draw alongside, but it looks like Thomas actually going to use more battery to stay ahead.
Yep, he absolutely does, with Thomas keeping that third position as it stands right at the moment. Ali B versus Quinn. Quinn keeping his footing, not wanting to yield, and doesn't yield. He instead keeps that position, but Ali B still trying to fight back. He does have an ERS and he's going to use it. Will Ali B to shape alongside and then try to be later on the brakes, and he is later on the brakes, but Quinn still isn't giving it up on the hard compound outside. This is absolutely extraordinary stuff, but he now has to as Ali B goes around the outside, uses the grip of those soft compound outsides, but the hard runners, I have to say, doing really, really well, and Senna is still on the back of Miami right now.
Yeah, maybe the hard tyres are the better race tyre to be on at this moment in time, because it looks like the hard tyres are they're just good at the moment, and Senna, obviously mentioned, on the back of both Miami, and obviously Miami's on the back of Thomas here for the final podium position, but all of them are almost within DRS range of Jonas.
Yeah, absolutely. This is now the chance for Miami. Thomas a tiny bit wide, DRS enabled, but looks like Miami wants to make that move before the DRS is enabled. Justin, I believe, has had a tiny bit of a moment. He's now continued, but Miami does move past. Senna's also going to try to get involved down to turn number 1 as well.
Senna through up into P4 goes the Williams driver. He's got his teammate up in P2 just ahead. And will we see any Williams teamwork going on?
What we talked about earlier on as well, the two Williams who were second and fourth at the time, it was the other way around. So are we going to see some Williams teamwork coming into play? So it will be interesting to see the two Mercedes switching places. So all of the teams definitely considering it to get the best result for their team. But lap 12 out of 23 currently as it stands, and still quite a lot to go on in this one. It's definitely not done yet, but with Ushin retiring, it definitely has calmed things down right at the front of the field, because it's almost a 2-second gap.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course mistakes come creeping in from the drivers in behind of JM. It's allowed JM to build this gap. Of course, the Mata, of course, losing his car as well has allowed this gap to build. But now lap 13 of 23, JM 1.8 seconds ahead of Jonas, who's currently in a comfortable, well, I'd say comfortable, he's got a decent gap back to Miami in P2 and P3. But Senna on the back on those hard tyres really actually starting to pull away from Thomas here. So it seems in the race, the softs, well, they were the tyre to be on in the sprint race. In the main race, absolutely not.
Yep, definitely what it seems like right now with how all of it is going. We were expecting the hards to be good at some point. We were expecting it to be good later down in the stint, but it's been good with the fire up, and it's only going to get better as the soft start to fade away.
Yeah, absolutely, and at what point do the mediums fade away to the hards? That's another question as well. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen once once Miami ducks out of the way by here. Obviously those softs will drop off first, that's just the natural order of things. When Miami drops away, I'm interested to see what the Williams pairing will do, because Jonas will pit at the same time as JM, maybe a lap earlier to try and get an undercut, and maybe back up the AlphaTauri. But will the Williams pairing kind of just DRS tow each other?
Well, absolutely, it will be interesting to see, because Miami's also just got past Jonas as well for the soft runner. Miami getting past, so we're about to see what is going to go on at Williams as well with their teamwork and strategy. But right now, Jonas staying on the back of Miami.
Yep, absolutely. Miami now up into P2, Jonas down into P3. For how much longer though remains to be seen. I think Miami will do very well if he can hold on to P2 for this next lap, but I think with DRS he's going to overtake him by both Jonas and Senna by here.
Yes, absolutely. Jonas still looking very close, but not wanting to make the move, because he didn't fully stay foot to the floor, the foot absolutely flat to the floor. He didn't stay on the pedal there, and now Senna is getting closer So we'll definitely be interested to see. Williams might just make an easy switch around of things where Jonas doesn't use any ERS. Senna maybe just uses a tiny bit of ERS to just go alongside, and then possibly Jonas just a tiny bit, just breaks a tiny bit early. Well, actually Senna's already ahead as he gets on the brake and fully ahead. So now he's going to try and move up to second place past Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course now Senna up ahead of his teammate, and now can maybe get through on Miami here. JM, I mean, even though he's been in the race lead and he's comfortably in the race lead now, he does not have the ERS, and Senna has shown to be just as quick without using ERS. So maybe Senna, once he gets through on Miami here, can close in that 3-second gap, and maybe we'll see a nice battle at the end of this race. But as it currently stands, JM 3 seconds the lead. Jonas just picking up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to drop him well down the order now.
Yep, first driver to pick up a penalty in this race. So very unfortunate for Jonas coming in there, as well as getting all out of shape. There is Thomas, and he's going to lose a position. He'll rejoin alongside Speed.
Contact with Ali B.
Oh, contact with Ali B as well, as he fights his way through. Ali B is going to try and get past Speed Knighton as well. And Miami also momentarily slowing down there as with a pit stop start coming in.
I think Miami might have gone wide on the exit of the final corner, because he lost out to both Senna and Jonas here.
Yep, definitely could have been the case there for Miami. She's very slow coming onto that straight. So yeah, but pit stops now starting to happen. Ali B and the Maddox diving it in. The Maddox going for a set of the soft compound of tyres. But yeah, could definitely be a really interesting race all the way to the end. Lap 16 out of 23. It's starting to head towards those final stages, so anything is still possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're going to see Senna's pace versus JM's, because Senna can tow Jonas along here. Jonas can then get out of that 3-second penalty window, because obviously Miami's 2.6 behind him now, or 2.5 as they come through. But yeah, Miami 2.5 seconds back. Jonas can break away from Miami with that 3-second time penalty as long as he can stick with Senna. But Senna needs to really push on if he wants to try and take the race win here.
Yes, definitely does have to push on indeed. Miami dives it into the pit lane as well, but he definitely does have to really get all on the attack. Talking about the attack, that's going to be Speed Knighton getting ahead there of Thomas as the soft now starts to fade away, and the mediums will soon probably do so as well.
Yeah, Knighton, Thomas and Lawrence in a big freeway scrap for P5, and it looks like those soft tyres are completely gone, because look at Lawrence here, absolute superior grip coming through turn 4, but wasn't able to get alongside the challenge into 5. But you can just see the grip difference between the softs at this point and the hards.
Yes, absolutely. So you can really now see the difference. Now it's not even really a contest between the pair of them. Just the grip out of corners, working there for Lawrence, and he's really going to try get past Thomas as soon as possible through these couple of corners. Better traction, and he's probably going to try make the move down the main straight. As into the pits comes your race leader JM.
Yeah, and Jonas follows him in as well, so maybe we'll see a whole gaggle of cars into the pits as Knighton comes in, as does Cam K, as Thomas is about to be overtaken by Lawrence down in towards turn number 1. And JM opting for the soft tyres, so soft tyres going on the AlphaTauri here.
Yep, soft tyres going on for all of the drivers who have just made a pit. Came on Speed Knighton, all of them diving it in as well, as Miami is being passed by Ali B down to Thunderball. He was a driver who selected those medium compound tyres. Now Miami is still trying to fight back with the grip on the soft compound tyres, and he's going to use the power there as well. Good traction off the corner, inside line for him, and he's going to get that place, and Ali B will not be able to do the up and under there, so he's just going to have to sit into the wheel tracks and wait for the next opportunity if he is to try and re-overtake.
Yeah, and of course the next opportunity will be down at turn number 10 with DRS, but I would be potentially looking at the start-finish straight to get the move done. Because obviously, I mean, the soft tyres, we've seen in this race so far, the soft tyres haven't really worked too well for these guys. So it's an interesting one, because you think now at the end of the race, soft tyres are definitely the ones to be on.
Oh, I don't know if Thomas was trying to come into the pit lane, but he's all out of shape as well, out of the last corner there. But yeah, the softs have just not been good in this race.
Oh, hang on. I've just checked something that I completely didn't think. I thought Senna made the one pit stop, and it looks like he's made a double pit stop. He pitted under the safety car as well. So Senna is in the race lead, and he is... so Lawrence, Justin, and Quinn have all made 2 stops. Thomas is the only one, and obviously Cam Rules is AI, are the only ones to yet to make a pit stop. So right now, JM is in P5 in this race.
Yep, absolutely. So game on, absolutely game on them. All the way till the end of this Grand Prix. And it's really going to get interesting from here. Even more interesting now as well. Lap 19, we're almost to the end of this Grand Prix. A few more laps to go. So now the drivers really have to get on with it if they want to have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And Senna with a commanding lead now at the top of it. And it's going to be interesting because the final spot in the podium now is very intriguing because you've got Quinn with DRS on the back of Justin. But 3 seconds back, you got JM closing in on fresh softs.
Yep, absolutely. Closing in on those fresh, soft compound of tyres as Thomas dives it into the pits. Onto lap 20 we go now. So let's see where JM will be able to get up to with those soft compound of tyres. As usual, low on ERS. But Ushin would have been wondering, will be wondering where he would have finished if he was still in this race. Definitely a lot of points lost for him. And exactly what JM wants, to put one hand on the championship trophy.
Yeah, but of course the big thing now is obviously with the result as it is currently going, is a big result for Senna. Because obviously a victory in the sprint race and of course the main race. Not sure who's got the fastest lap. We'll have a little look at that right now. In fact, as the fastest lap is currently with JM, so he does pick up the fastest lap. So I mean, 32 points collected by Senna as it currently stands. 32 points. Does jump him ahead of Oshin in the standings. And obviously he'll jump him ahead of the Matter, who's all the way down in P10 as it currently is at the moment. The gap does it extend? Does it close? The maths. I'm a math head, guys, but I really... I need to crunch numbers. That's what I need to do. I need to crunch numbers. I need my calculator out. Where's my compass?
Yeah, all of these numbers, all of this needs to be sorted as well. Really complicated. You might not be, well, we are somewhat clever, but don't know if we're that clever to work it all out right now. All of the numbers all over our minds and heads right now as well, while the race still goes on, while JN about to make an overtake now down to turn number 10, trying to go right around the outside. He's going to use the grip. He'll have the soft coming outside off the road momentarily, but the outside will turn into the inside line, and it should become the position. Quinn doesn't want to yield like he didn't want to yield any position so far in this race, but can Quinn now maybe try fight back? He might have the hard. He's not got the best exit though. He's still going to use a bit of ERS and the DRS. Might try fight back down into down number 1, and like he is.
Yep, here comes Quinn back through with DRS and using his DRS, and now JM is in a bit of a sticky situation now because he is stuck behind Quinn, and while he needs to get through at a spot like this right here at turn 4 around the outside, because he either has to wait for DRS or he has to get through early enough in the lap with enough corners so he can build a gap, and Quinn sends one back on the inside. Contact between the pair of them, and honestly I don't think that is a very smart move there from Quinn, and yeah, maybe a bit of desperation sinking in, but both Quinn and JM there absolutely tangled with each other, and that has essentially sealed JM's fate. He's not finishing any higher than 4th right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes Jonas. Late send on the brakes as well. But is he going to make the corner? He is, but he's going to be wide. And it could open the door now for Quinn once again. And Quinn hasn't wanted to yield any position.
Contact!
Long race and more contact as well for Quinn. And that's going to allow Miami as well to move up to 6th place with a chance now to get past Quinn as Jonas drops down. But yeah, Quinn wanting to get the move done. But luckily, Quinn pointed JM back in the correct direction for him. Luckily, they didn't lose too much time. But here comes Miami down to turn number 1. He's going to make that place, and there's nothing Quinn can do on that occasion.
Yeah, and now the question is going to be, obviously, with final lap of the race, Senna's in no man's land out in the lead. Obviously, Lawrence is in a pretty comfortable spot right now in P2, as is Justin in P3. JM obviously has a good gap in P4, but how hot are those tyres after that moment with Quinn? That's the question, but he is still closing in. Miami in P5 right now should be able to continue to pull away from Quinn. Quinn could be under pressure from Ali B by the end of this race, and of course you've got Cam Kamen and the Mata also pretty close to each other on track as well. We're on the final lap of the race. It's, oh my god, Ali B and Cam K coming together, and Ali B's around. What has gone on there?
Well, not the part of the circuit that he should be. Senna's on his way to victory.
Yeah, Senna comes through, takes victory, an absolutely fantastic job from the Williams driver, as Lawrence and Justin will come through to complete the podium.
Yeah.
JM P4, Miami P5, Quinn P6, Kamke P7, the Mata P8, Jonas will come through in P9, but of course he will lose out several positions due to the penalties. Speed Knighton. Speed Knighton's got his first points of the season.
There we go. We were talking about it earlier on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Speed Knighton. He's done it. He's done it. Speed Knighton is on the board. And honestly, I don't care now. It's Knighton's got points. Knighton's my driver of the day.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff by him. And we really like it when we do see those kind of results. First point on the board for him. But Senna, domination right at the end of that race. But there was a lot of collisions near the end of that Grand Prix.
Yeah, and definitely could be some stewards inquiries that come into play after this race. That is for sure. And honestly, Senna, fantastic strategy. He had fantastic pace throughout the entirety of it. And, you know, similarly, the only two drivers that had the pace to really challenge him were Oshin and JM. JM completely got done out with the safety car. Of course, the inability to make a double pit stop cost him, and obviously Oshin into the pit wall out of this race. But we'll run you through the race results one more time. It is, of course, Senna who takes victory ahead of Lawrence, who joins him on the podium, along with Justin. First points for Justin as well in the championship. JM, the championship leader, in P4, with Miami in P5, Quinn in P6, Kamke in P7, the Mata in P8, P9 goes to Speed Knighton, points on the board for the McLaren. And of course, Specialist rounding out the top 10 with Jonas in 11th and Ali B in 13th. Now, while Thomas is 13th, he could potentially move into the points as well due to post-race penalties. And of course, our two non-finishers were Cam Rules and Oshin in this race. Fastest lap goes to JM as well. And absolute carnage in that race. Let's say it like that first and foremost for parts of it. Some questionable overtakes as well. Definitely stewards are going to have their hands full if some of these incidents do go in. But at the front, it was a very enjoyable race.
Yep, and that's the crucial thing. There was still some fun racing had between the drivers. Still a lot of entertainment from us, especially that sprint race. Absolutely incredible race. It didn't get boring at any part of it there. So yeah, definitely a very, very exciting sprint race and a main race as well. Quite a lot of action from Spain.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that does bring an end to round number 9 here at Spain. Of course, we will be back next week for round number 10, and honestly, it's another one of my personal favorites. I did allude to it earlier on when, of course, we had Thomas coming into tonight's race. See me having the ability to battle Thomas in former One Hub racing seasons gone past, and of course our best battle was at Singapore, where we were battling for the race win. And what a track to go to next, because it is Singapore.
Oh, Singapore going to be really interesting. New layout, of course, as well. So that's going to be really exciting and a tiny bit different for all of us. So let's see if we're going to get some extra battles. I've already done a race with a new layout at Singapore. And yes, we do see some extra battles go down as well to that chicane. So definitely going to be one not to miss. But it is going to be happening, obviously, at a slightly earlier time for us. So 5 p.m. Is when you need to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it is important to put that out there as well. Of course, the race next week, and of course for round number 11 at Silverstone, will be 2 hours earlier to not clash with the real life F1 Grand Prix. So we will be racing at an earlier time of 5 p.m. on Sunday next week, and of course at Silverstone for round number 11 as well. So that, of course, brings an end to tonight's racing, and as you can see, we got an interesting final 3 races in store for us. But of course, we have to pick our driver of the days, and I mean, we already know who my driver of the day is, because I'm giving it to Speed Knighton just on the simple fact that it's his first points of the season. And my question for Speed Knighton is: it has been a long time coming. Points on the board. How do you feel about that result? And that is my question to Speed Knighton. But I'm going to ask you, Naomi, who is your driver of the day?
Gonna be a very, very... let me think. Who should I go for? Always very hard one, because there are so many drivers who you could give it to. But I'm going to give it to Miami. And my question for him would be, do you think you could have finished higher? And what were you expecting as well with the engine penalty? Were you expecting to finish higher, lower, or in the same position that you finished, which was P5?
Interesting. I mean, I do apologize to Senna, because obviously he had an absolutely fantastic drive. But what's it called? I mean, I have to give it to Knighton just for the fact that it's his first points of the season. There's principle there. And yeah, I think obviously Miami another well-deserved driver of the day candidate. Of course, he did have a big recovery race as well, because he did lose the car a few times in that race. But of course, before we go tonight, once again, massive shout out to our sponsors at Next Level Racing, providing some fantastic prices, and of course the Aztec for sim racing boots and pure sim gear, along with the mystery shirt box as well, and of course to our partners at Vespa Twin, and of course to ERT, and of course Sim Grid. But yeah, that is it, and that is going to bring an end to round number 9. We'll be back next week at 5 p.m. For round number 10 at Singapore. Remember, it will be on Twitch, and of course you'll have P3 and P1 tier on YouTube next week as well. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back next week for more racing as we continue on here in One Hub for the final 3 races of the season. But until then, guys, I've been Michael Edwards. He has been Omnicoms, and we'll catch you next week.